Hello everyone, welcome to this video. In this video we're going to work on this lab, which is for AZ300 Microsoft Azure Architect Technologies. These labs are available on the GitHub from Microsoft Learning, and we just gonna try to complete the task of objectives. The first one, create and configure user assign manage identities, and then validate functionality of user assign manage identities in this lab. Okay, so exercise 1 is about creating and configuring a user assign manage identity. This exercise got 4 different tasks where we're gonna deploy an Azure VM running Windows Server 2016 Datacenter. We're gonna create a user assign manage identities, then we will assign the user assign manage identity to the Azure VM, and at last we're going to assign the RBAC-based permissions to the user assigned manage identity. Now deploying a Windows server is pretty standard, and this section, if you do not have a storage, then only you need to configure this. If you do already have a storage, you do not need to do that. So really where we are going to start our lab is right here. So here what you are doing is really you're creating a AZ group create, means you're asking Azure to create a resource group, and the name of the resource group is going to be this, and the location I'm going to use the East US. Okay, so let's copy this, come over here, let's go to my PowerShell window, or actually is a bash shell, and in here I'm gonna paste the command, and location, my favorite is East US. So let's hit enter, and what is telling us this provision is successful, so that's great. So let's come back. So we have the resource group, so now we gotta get a file that we will have to deploy. Okay, so let's copy this just to remember which file to deploy, all files. So let's go up to the top, let's open this in another window, let's go to all files, and let's see what are we, AZ300 TO1 and module 5. Looks like there are 2 files, Azure deploy 05 JSON and the parameter. I think we will probably end up needing both of them. So let's look at the file. Looks like it's a template file. A couple of these schema and content version, they are required, so you gotta have this. Admin username, metadata, password, Windows OS version. So it's a 2019 data center. You have a description, you have the SKU, standard DS2v3, then it's configuring the network interface card, address basics, subnet prefix, public IP address name, VM name, virtual network name, subnet reference, DNS prefix, network security group name. So all of the stuff is getting created. Resources, here's some more information. I'm just browsing through it. I'm not going to read every single line for this. So this is just a configuration for different resources that it's deploying. Like this is for a network security group. What is the rule? Default allow RDP. So it's gonna allow us to log in to that virtual machine using a RDP connection from our local machine. For name. So it makes sense. If you want, you can spend some more time. Like over here is a network interface card that's being configured. So what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna save for now this file. Oh, why is it not giving me an option to save? That's weird. So let's go back one more time. Click on raw. Here we go. Save page as JSON. That's good. I'm gonna go back. And since I saw a parameter file right in here, I'm gonna get that one as well. Usually you also need the parameter file. Like here you're providing the admin username, which is going to be student, and you're also providing this password. So get it and save it. Okay, once that's done, I can get out of this browser. We can come over here and we can continue with the lab. So we have already got that resource group, and now we need to upload. Yeah, you see we need to upload both files, and once it's uploaded, we're going to run this command. Okay, so that will deploy this VM, and remember this command as well, AZ deployment group create. That's the AZ CLI command that you will be typically using for the deployment of a virtual machine using Azure CLI. So let's go over here. Let's upload our files that we have. So let's get the this file first. So that's uploaded successful, and let's also get the parameters file. So that upload is also successful, so I'm comfortable. So now I can run this command. So pretty much if you read it, deployment group create is going to create that virtual machine. You're telling it to deploy it under this resource group. You're telling it template file. Which template file is this template file? Where are the parameters? These are the parameters, and notice how we have the parameters file name in here. You are append or prepending this with an @ sign. So it's @Azure deploy 05.parameters.json. So kind of get used to this command. AZ deployment group create, resource group, template file, and parameters. So you have to specify all of them and hit enter. So that is gonna start the deployment of the virtual machine. As you can see, it says running. So what I'll do, I'll pause the video for a minute, and as soon as the deployment is done, we'll come back. And Microsoft is probably estimating that it will take about 5 minutes. Alright, I'm back. Actually, when we ran this command for the first time, for whatever reason, it gave me an error message where it said resource deployment failure, and the message was the resource operation completed with the terminal provisioning state failed. So I was not sure about this particular error, so I just reran the same command one more time, and this time it looks like that deployment went well, and it was able to deploy everything just fine. And so let's go back, and as you can see, the provisioning state says succeeded. Okay, so this is all done. So create user assign manage identity and assign it to the VM. So for that, to do that, we just need to run another command, and again the commands are pretty similar in nature. AZ identity create, AZ VM create, right? AZ VM identity assign, AZ group create. You see the pattern. So we're gonna create the identity, and we're gonna assign it to this resource group, and we're gonna call that this particular name. Okay, so go over here, and we're gonna run this command, and that should create an identity for us that we're gonna assign to this virtual machine. Now once this is done, we're gonna pause, and we're gonna take a look at this particular resource group for a second and make sure all the deployments that we have been trying, they are actually available inside this resource group. As a matter of fact, we can really go there right now as this is going on. So let's go over here, and you can just directly search for this resource group. Interesting, I don't here it showed up under the resource groups. Okay, so I'm going to click on that one, and it should already have all the VMs and everything, and now that identity has already been created. So if you look at it, okay, using the command line in the previous command that we ran, it created the NIC, NSG, the public IP address. This is the VM, and I still don't see that manage identity. So refresh one more time and see if it's showing up in here. Okay, it's not. I'm not seeing the identity as a resource right now here, so we have to see how it's being recorded. So let's go over here. Let's see what it's saying. At least the identity creation looks like that went well, and it's got under this tenant ID we have this this is the principal ID and this is the name of it. Okay, so let's go back to the lab. So once this is done, run the following to assign the user assigned identity to the virtual machine. So here we AZ create identity, we create the identity. Now in this command where we're running AZ VM identity assign, now we're assigning this identity to, in this resource group, this is the identity name of the VM, and this is the identity that we created in the previous state. We're going to assign that to this particular VM. So let's run that command over here, and that should assign the identity that we have created to this particular VM. So let's come back and see what else do we need to do. And at this point we are now ready to configure RBAC referencing the user assigned manage identity. Okay, so let's see if that's done. It's still running, so it may take a minute, and while this is running, let's read the next portion of the lab. So to configure the RBAC, we will have to run the next setup commands. In this command we'll create Azure AZ group create. So again, it's a resource group that you're creating. So you'll be creating a new resource group, and I'm going to use the same location. Okay, once that's done, in that particular resource group, I'm going to go to the identity and access management blade, and in that access management blade we're going to assign the owner role to the newly created user assigned manage identity. Okay, so let's see if my command is done. Oh, it's done. So we got that identity that's now tied to my virtual machine. So now I can just go ahead and create a new resource group, and we have to provide our region is US, and this usually takes just a second. So this is all done. So let's now go to and see all the resource groups that I have, and I expect to see a resource group named this. Okay, that's not even not yet showing up. So refresh couple times, now it showed up. So now you can go in there. So RBAC role, one way, the deeper you go, the more restrictive you are in assigning the roles. So here we are going and we are assigning the IAM blade to this particular resource group. Okay, we're not giving it to the whole subscription. Okay, so when we are here and we are on the IAM, which is Identity and Access Control blade, so it's saying assign the owner role. So let's see, assign which role, assign a role assignment. You can do it from here. We need the owner role. So owner role, then the ID that we have created. So we need to find that ID. Where is that ID? Identity is this. So let's try to find that ID and see if it's available to us. There we go. So we have that ID. We are assigning the owner role to this particular ID in this particular resource group only. Okay, so we're gonna save this and come back. So that's all for this lab. So now we have created a managed identities. We have assigned that managed identity with this particular VM, and we have assigned the owner role to this managed identity. Okay, I think to keep this lab just small and manageable, I'm going to end this particular video right here, and let's talk about the next set of exercise validating the functionality of the user assigned managed identity in the next video. Thank you for watching. If you're preparing for the exam, good luck. If you like it, give me a like, subscribe, and feel free to comment. Thank you. Good luck with the exam.